Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. We have a number of strange stories to talk about today. The first of which describes what authorities are now describing as an unexplainable force that began pulling on two separate airplanes, causing them to go down over California in the past couple of days. The incidents occurred over Tulare County, and with the very news article here stating that, quote, it has been a very weird 2 days at the Portersville Municipal Airport, where one plane crashed into an airport sign and another overturned. And the explanation? Well, there isn't an explanation, said pilots who reported a, quote, pulling right before the planes crashed in separate incidents. It all started late Friday morning when the pilot of a small aircraft was landing at the rural Porterville Airport in South Newcomb Street, where the pilot, who police didn't identify, told officials that she was landing when her, quote, aircraft began pulling down. She couldn't control the plane and slammed into an airport marker near the end of the runway. She wasn't injured, luckily, and it is not known if there was anyone with her in the plane at the time. The plane and sign had little damage, and the pilot was able to taxi the plane toward the hangars, and she notified authorities. So then fast forward 24 hours later, where another pilot, now lucky to be alive, after his plane overturned upon takeoff Saturday morning. Again, at the Porterville's city-run airport, an unidentified pilot was preparing for takeoff when the, quote, pulling began. Around 9:10 a.m., 911 calls flooded the city's dispatch center when the airport officials notified emergency personnel that a plane was down. His aircraft began pulling to the left and veered off the runway into the dirt field, said Sergeant Brian Nix, who went on to say, quote, as he attempted to maneuver the aircraft to recover, it began to lift and ultimately overturned. Now, the National Transportation Safety Board and FAA were notified of the separate crashes and will likely begin an investigation into the phenomena, as they're calling it. Now, it should also be noted here, which some of you may see a connection here, maybe it explains this strange phenomenon that is now pulling on planes as they're either trying to land or take off, but the Porterville Municipal Airport, which is kind of out in the middle of the desert, was founded in 1946 when the property was actually transferred to the city from the United States military. And so previously, the airport was operated as the Porterville Army Airfield. The Air Corps opened the airfield in September 1942 and was used as a training base in the later years before it was finally given over to the city. And here you're seeing a photograph of Tulare County from above. So it's very reminiscent of these sort of isolated areas in the desert where you will find many of the secretive bases, whether it be Area 51 and things of that nature. And, you know, I'm already starting to get some alarm bells here due to the fact that this area is sort of in the middle of the nowhere. It's a small town. This tiny little airport used to be owned and was a testing ground by the military before it was given over to the city. And now we have two separate planes, one that was on the ground. So, this isn't a case where you're up in the air and you have wind speeds change, you have pressure changes that can cause a plane to go into a spin or a dive or cause it to stall. This happened while the plane was still on the ground, where it was suddenly tugged or pulled, as they're calling it here in this report, by something unknown and unexplained. The other plane coming in for a landing, where again, some unknown force pulled it, caused it to go into a roll where it overturned, and the pilots, seasoned pilots are reporting this, quote, pulling right before the planes crashed, and stating that, well, explanation, there is no explanation. And the fact that this area used to be a training ground, it's in the middle of nowhere, it truly makes me wonder if something is being tested. Again, this is just a theory. This is the early stages of this investigation. The reports just came out, but with everything happening right now in the world, the powers that be are always testing some pretty nasty stuff. And even if they're not testing, despite the fact this used to be a testing ground where this is occurring, what if there's some sort of gravitational anomaly that is causing these planes to be pulled by some strange unknown force? Was there some sort of gravitational glitch that occurred here? It reminds me of the report we did about the massive gravitational anomaly that was discovered underneath Antarctica that actually was so massive, and the pull from whatever is underneath Antarctica was so massive that when satellites orbiting the Earth up in space would go over this specific area, they would actually be pulled down by this gravitational force coming from deep underneath Antarctica. And where the gravity pull there was so much greater, it would actually start to pull down on these twin satellites as they flew over it. If you haven't seen that video, I'll post a link to it down below. It's definitely a strange story. I'll put the link to it down below. It's coming straight from the pilot's mouths. Unexplainable, pulling force, tugging on two separate planes, causing them to wipe out. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but I'll definitely be following up on this. You guys tell me what you think. Strange times indeed. It could be something natural. You never know. But still, it is strange. And again, it's coming from the pilots, not I. Now, in other news, speaking of some strange things in the sky, we have a couple of UFO sightings, one of which has been getting some publicity the past couple of days in the news. But first, we have an exclusive video here sent in by a viewer of some sort of strange object captured moving through the clouds. Now, unfortunately, I have to mute the audio because the radio was playing, and that will cause some issues with YouTube. So check this out. Sorry, there is no audio. This was sent in by Cameron from Indianapolis, Indiana, around 1 p.m. on North Ronald Reagan Parkway, where driving down the street noticed what he could only describe as a rectangular object flying over his house. And one other thing he said that you can't really see in the video is that with his naked eye, he believed he saw what appeared to be a red light or a red mark dead center of the object. Now, obviously, your first thought could be, well, is this a banner or something being pulled by a plane? He said he didn't see a plane at all, and we don't see any plane, at least in the footage that we have here. Another thing, whatever the object is, it looks big. The way it's flying seems kind of strange to me. I can't really explain it, but you can definitely see it moving in and out of the clouds towards the end of the footage. And another thing I noticed, maybe you guys noticed it too, was if you see where it kind of enters the clouds and you look at the clouds surrounding that area, does it look a little strange to you guys, the shapes of the clouds themselves? Where you have sort of these what look like openings or holes up in the clouds, sort of kind of look like pillars, some other really strange shapes. I don't know if this is a reflection or if it's just strange clouds, I don't know, but truly is some very interesting footage. At this moment, whatever this object is, it's unidentified, so anybody over Indianapolis, if you've seen this or have any ideas what could it be or have any extra footage, definitely email it to me, and we will analyze it further. Now, in other UFO sighting news, this is a story that's kind of been going viral lately after a man near Charlotte, North Carolina, posted some photos to Facebook on August 28th of what he described as a square-shaped UFO sitting in the night sky. And the Charlotte Observer actually posted a news report about this, which I'll post down below, but the gist of it is a mysterious square-shaped UFO was photographed by Havion Hill as he drove southwest of Charlotte, North Carolina. It was posted to his Facebook page. He believes that what he saw may have been an experimental military craft. Mr. Hill told the Charlotte Observer that there was something frightening about the experience and he didn't sleep that night. The man says that he took several photos of the object during a storm on the night of August 18th as he drove on US 74 southwest of Charlotte. The images feature something square hovering above the tree line with its edges fringed in lights. He says that while he was on his way home, speaking with his wife on speakerphone, he said it looked as if there may have been a tornado coming. So he said he was trying to take a picture of the clouds for his wife. But then he said, I saw something that wasn't normal. And I was like, oh my God, what is that? I started trying to take as many pictures of it as possible while I was driving. He says he pulled over at the next exit to try to get video, but the aircraft had vanished. A heavy rain followed instantly, he said. Okay, so a couple of other channels have posted on this, and I was a little apprehensive too, because when I very first saw it, I immediately thought reflection. And many of you may be thinking that as well. I mean, to me, it looks almost like a reflection of an iPhone or a smartphone sitting on someone's lap face down, where you're just getting the light, sort of coming out of the edges of the phone and reflecting off of the windshield. That's what it looks like to me. Either that or some sort of a reflection from coming inside the car. Otherwise, this would be a massive craft, and we would likely have hundreds at the very least of videos and photographs of it from the other cars passing below, near it. We have a gas station right here where surely people would have seen this thing. The fact that the object mysteriously disappeared the moment the man got out to take a video, well, that again kind of hints to me that that's because the object was a reflection. Again, that's just my opinion. I wasn't there, so this very well could have been something, but that is just my opinion at first glance. And, I would think that if something this large was in there, we would have much more video and photographs of it. So, again, you guys tell me what you think. I'll put the article to this down below. The existence of secret test craft is no secret, and we have been documenting evidence of these things on this channel for years now. Some very strange, unearthly looking things have been spotted in our skies, some of them likely belonging to us. Others seem to appear or act as if they are from off-planet. So we will continue that search. Tell me what you think about these photos down below. And lastly today, real quick before we go, this has nothing to do with aliens or UFOs. However, I want all you guys to listen to this, because this message specifically goes out to a certain group of people that may or may not watch this channel. Long story short, I am an animal lover. I have multiple rescue dogs, multiple cats. My wife even works at a shelter/boarding kennel where stray and abandoned dogs come in every day. And well, yesterday we received a phone call about a stray dog that was brought into the kennel and that needed to go to the vet ASAP. This dog was sick, couldn't even stand up, and had been found locked in a cage in a trailer that its owner had left it in and abandoned. This after years of basically not taking care of it at all, and possibly worse. And well, we took it to the vet. As you're seeing in this image here, I'm actually standing behind this poor dog who was very old, again, very sick, could not even stand up. And despite our best efforts to save the dog and do anything we could to keep it alive, we did have to have it put down about 10 minutes after having taken this photo. After the doctor told us basically there was nothing we could do, and we felt that the dog deserved to be in peace after what it had gone through. And so if you follow me on Facebook and Twitter, you already heard me sort of vent about this, but I just want to say it again. To any of you who watch my channel, to anyone who is a pet owner and who does not take care of their animals and who does not feed them and who leaves them to suffer for years on end, just as this poor guy in the photograph dealt with before having to be put down because the extent of his injuries were so great there was nothing we could do. To anyone who would treat an animal like this, you are not welcome on this channel. You can get the hell out because I have no respect for you whatsoever. Anyone who treats an animal like this is a coward in my book, and you are not welcome here. So suffice it to say, it's been a very rough past couple of days for my wife and I. And sadly, we see dogs like this every day, especially my wife who works at this kennel. So, to all of you who are pet owners, be sure to show them some extra love and attention. And remember that a lot of these animals have more love and soul in them than many humans do. And this picture is proof positive of that. So I say again, if you have no respect for your pets or animals, I have no respect for you, and you can get off this channel. And with that, I want to thank the rest of you for stopping by today. As always, stay tuned for new, strange, and unexplained news happening around the world. I'm going to jump off here and get back to work, so you guys have a great day or night, and I'll see you back in just a bit.